Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is G. You're watching Allastrology. And this is the week of December 15th and the following 7 days. Before we go any further, I want you to know there is a new moon this week, but there is a separate video for the new moon. So in this video, I'm going to touch on that quickly. All right. If you need more details about the new moon event, you want to go and watch that other video. That's why I do a separate video. It's more of a deep dive into just the new moon itself and all the fascinating energies that are present. On the chart, we're looking right at the top. We've got Jupiter prominent in the chart. We've got Venus there standing out. We've got the North Node and we have the South Node. Jupiter this week is going to go from 23 to 22 degrees. That's significant. Jupiter is a huge deal this week. So right now, Jupiter is still standing at the shock and surprise degree. Judgments, rulings, judges. It's in the sign of Cancer, so it does involve the public. Now, there's a whole slew of things that are going on, whether it's Supreme Court stuff and the past, things that went down in the past with public figures. So this can include your politicians. This can include like big names, right? Public figure, big names, people who were powerful and wealthy. Mercury. This Mercury began a retrograde. We now have more of the details. We can now see the bigger picture a little bit more clearly. It's like having that jigsaw puzzle on the table. And even if there's a few pieces missing, you get the gist, right? Like, you know how you have a jigsaw you've done again and again. And over time, those last one or two pieces are just, they disappeared. But that didn't mean you couldn't do the puzzle. There were still enough pieces of the puzzle. And when it was all put together, you could still you still could tell what the hell you're looking at. You know it, right? So the Mercury and the gathering of information, the digging of information that she did, the coming up and showing us the very undesirable stuff in Scorpio energy. Holy crap, right? So we think again, politicians, public figures, people of extreme wealth and power who were doing a lot of things behind closed doors. And Scorpio is all about that merging of energy and a whole lot more. So we can have a clearer understanding of what's going on, of what went on. Remember, Scorpio, the abuse, the trauma, and usually with Scorpio energy, sexual trauma is all under Scorpio. It's really interesting how the history is going to interweave into the present. I just think we're in for a time of revelations. And look at Pluto, because that's the ruler of Scorpio, Pluto and Mars. It's at the 2 degrees. It's at the 2 degrees. Okay, now it didn't just get here this week, but it's important anytime we're discussing the past and history in Scorpio and Mercury passes up shadow zone. And yes, it went through Saggy and Scorpio for the shadow zone. So you understand that what went on in the past and then bringing that to light, bringing that to getting some justice and the judicial system, but even the Department of Justice. This brings me to the new moon. Yes, there's a freaking new moon on the 19th, and it's in Sagittarius. So it's on the 19th/20th, depending upon where you live in the world. Now, it's in Saggy at 28 degrees. Keep that in mind. We're going to come back to that in a little bit. Now, with that said, you've got Venus in Saggy this week. So the justice and equality and fairness and freedoms, the future of politics, the future of political figures, the future of the law, the future of the judicial system, the Department of Justice. This is all a major focus. The interpretation of the law, interpretations in general. So it's interesting, right? This is the placement of knowledge, higher learning. And so there are certain things that are called truths that are not subjective truths. They're not personal truths. Sagittarius energy in courtrooms and the law and the Constitution is based on a universal truth, a permanent truth, a truth that is unchanging regardless of who the speaker is, regardless of who the believer is. It just is. So it's complicated. And it's easy to see with Sagittarius energy how the lines of the truth and the law and my spiritual beliefs and how that all kind of gets all mixed up and intertwined. A big connection to partnerships, big connection. And floating back over to Jupiter, this is an uncomfortableness. This is Queen Kung's energy. It's an irritation. It's an agitation. Remember our beliefs, but it's the public and women, homes, family, emotional security. Aquarius, I'm sorry, I keep wanting to say Aquarius because it's the number 23. So, yes, that's Aquarian energy. Okay, so keep that in mind. Different, original, unique, never been done before. The trendsetters, right? Shocks and surprises, very unconventional energy. The wake up call. The wake up call is 23 degrees. This isn't just judges. All right. This energy has been growing. There's so much that's being revealed this week, and not just specifically this week, but it is a highlight because Mercury is out of her shadow zone. And so with that, there can be things that challenge our beliefs. Because Jupiter's over there and it makes our beliefs, the thoughts about the justice system and our future very uncomfortable. The Saggy energy and Jupiter energy and the new moon, getting back to that, it's at 28 degrees. That's a moon degree. So it means that this will have even more power than normal. Okay? Because this is the moon rules Cancer energy. So again, women and the public, the emotions of the public and their need for emotional stability. But childhood, rearing of children, what was it like in your childhood? So the past comes back. The past makes it uncomfortable. The past says, hey, what the hell? Okay, so without going any further into the new moon, because there's a lot of other stuff to cover on it, go check out the other video because the orb is large. Okay, the orb is large. Now, with all that said, Venus will get to 27 degrees by the end of the week. So on Sunday, Monday, Venus hits 27. Where is she? We saw it. She was in Sag. You see Venus's blue line here, right? Well, where Venus begins at 18, she's going to go here. She's going to be conjunct the galactic center, which is a huge point of need, big time, desires, emotions, money, food, but the truth. Venus desires the truth. Typically, fire energy is optimistic. It's got this, I'm going to go on a journey. I'm going to go and have an adventure, but you got to have a little bit of courage to do that. You got to have some confidence to do that. You got to have some, okay, let's start something. It's fire, right? So it's moving. It's alive kind of energy. And this is a beautiful kind of vibration. But at the same time, remember, Sunday come Monday, the need and the desires, maybe love and attention, but whatever it is that you truly desire will be kind of amped up, especially because by at the same time at the end of the week, the Mercury will reach 15. It'll still be in Saggy, but the 15 degrees is the mind. It's my thoughts. It's what I'm thinking about, what we're talking about. Coworkers, classmates, siblings, neighbors. It's that constant conversation that's going on, right? It's our local community as well, but our needs, our values, our money, our jobs. Now, 2 degrees, values and money is big. As soon as Pluto hit 2 degrees, this was last week, values and money are on the table and banking, not just the tariffs and all that. We're going to focus on the nodes. This is talking about 12 degrees, okay? The nodes just got here a few days ago. The North Node is where we're heading. It's our future. Now, I want you to keep in mind as I back up the chart that Sagittarius energy in general squares all the Pisces energy. It brings a red line. It's a square. It's a stress and a tension. And this is institutional energy. This is your government energy. Of course, it's hospitals, right? but it is definitely public figures, politicians, statesmen, presidents. Okay. And this is global. It's not just the US, this is global. So this node here at the 12 degrees is extra, extra important going forward, because the node at the 12 degrees highlights even more politicians and public figures, big time public figures. But there's a lot of history and karma involved in this. Okay. A lot of history and karma. And Mercury squares the north and the south node. And actually, the north and the south node will throw a big, strong T square to Mercury this week. Okay. The north and the south node will angle Mercury. And so you kind of want to keep that in mind, especially if you're traveling. I know this is the holiday season. I'm sorry, when the nodes are squaring Mercury, it will create delays. It will challenge what you want to do. It's flat tires, it's airline delays because we're flying in Sagittarius. We're traveling very far in Sagittarius, many times in the plane. Okay, planes, trains, automobiles, whatever we got to do. We're making that trip. Okay, so that will be this week. And so you kind of want to keep that on your radar. Mercury will, on the 19th, on Friday, Mercury gets to 10 degrees. So I'll say, depending upon if you got things close to the 12 degrees in your chart in Sagittarius, and for that matter, opposite of Saggy, right? Opposite of Saggy is Gemini, because then that creates more stress and tension, right? So we're going to say that we're going to call up a strong T-square orb for traveling and communication. We're going to call it to happen between, I'm going to say 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 degrees for this week. That's what I'm going to say. So that brings it to like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Stress and tension, delays. Sometimes it can be flat tires. Sometimes it can be accidents, but slowdowns for sure, layovers, do-overs. It's just things where it's like, yeah, anytime Mercury's involved, there's communication mix up and mess up and scheduling and, oh my God, I lost my reservation. They lost my reservation. That kind of crap can happen too. So just keep that in mind and on your, plan for more time, anytime Mercury gets a big square like that. This Jupiter at 23 is going to switch up, and it's going to actually make a change on Thursday. Jupiter is going to go to 22 degrees. And this 22 degrees represents a Saturn degree. It's strong. It's about duty and responsibility. Very serious energy. You think indictments, right? You think grand juries and all that kind of crap with Jupiter and 22 degrees. Now, with that, there can be some really funky stuff that we're hearing about prior to this week that can involve money, fraudsters, banking, especially because Pluto's at 2, because the whole Epstein stuff, it wasn't just, the pedophile stuff, very real, very horrible, tragic, and they're absolute, like he got off easy when someone took him out, right? And I was very cautious to use that terminology, but in light of some of the recent findings, there were some strong motives to get rid of him other than just the pedophile stuff. It turns out the man had a very strong case against him for money laundering. And it was institutional banking energy that was involved. So I have a feeling that when you talk about big boss energy, institutional energy, and big money energy, and Pluto at 2 degrees, this will be, and the Department of Justice, this will be an evolving story that weaves into the past. And I mean the year 2007 up to present day, because it involves your current Department of Justice saying, yeah, we've got the Epstein files and there's nothing else to look at. There's nothing there, right? There's nothing there. And so it brings up, well, wait a minute, if there's nothing there, well, then what's this? But yet you already made a statement that there's nothing there. So this isn't a one and done quick thing. This will be a process. But I really feel strongly that because of the revelations that when Mercury pulled out of that retrograde and beyond that shadow zone, and Venus will get to the 27, right? Mercury will eventually get to the 27, not this week in Saggy, but hearing about the future cases and the Department of Justice itself, right? There's just a lot of things where Jupiter in Cancer and the public hearing about things and the public feeling like WTF, literally, right? For sure. So just keep all that on your radar. All right. So this week, when you look at this chart, you see Friday written down a couple of times on here. Friday's written down with the north and the south node over there, which I'm going to jump on 1 second. And then you see Friday for the new moon, right? And you also see Thursday on this chart. So that tells us like the end of the week, probably some intense energy, shocks and surprises, and be prepared. And again, shocks and surprises also because on Friday, the nodes move. The nodes go from 12 degrees to 11 degrees. So that was on public figure and movie star and presidents and politicians and what's been done behind closed doors, 12 degrees. This is also hospital and healing institutions, if I didn't say that already. It goes to 11 degrees. Shocks and surprises, right? This is the Aquarian degree, all right? And for anybody who doesn't follow that degree theory astrology, I have been for the last, 6 months or so. And so far, it's been pretty damn spot on, seriously. So it can help simplify the astrology when it feels daunting to just pay attention to those degrees and the angles and the squares and the conjunctions of those degrees with other objects in your chart. So the north and the south node going to 11 degrees on Friday can be authoritarians and an authority figure energy. It can be unconventional, different, and new, but absolutely the shocks and surprises to the public and our values is definitely on the menu.